So, picture this. Something goes wrong. A machine breaks down, a project goes completely off the rails, a major incident happens. What's the very first question we always ask? Who messed up, right? But what if that's the absolute wrong question? What if pointing the finger isn't just unfair? What if it's actually making all of us less safe? Let's dig into why our knee-jerk reaction might just be a dangerous trap.
First, I want you to meet Frank. Frank is that guy. You know the one, the Rock. 15 years at the mill, and he's never, ever missed a shift. He's the kind of dedicated, experienced employee every single company says they want. He's the backbone of the whole operation. But tonight is different. Frank is at the end of a grueling 16-hour double shift. He is exhausted, just running on fumes. And then it happens. He makes a mistake. And it's not a small one. It's a catastrophic, million-dollar error that brings the whole plant to a screeching halt.
You can just imagine the chaos. Management is furious. The company is hemorrhaging money. And all eyes, every single one of them, turn to Frank. The pressure is on. And the question seems so simple, doesn't it? A mistake this big needs a response. So, what do? Do you fire him?
This rush to find someone to blame, this hunt for a culprit, it comes from a really old and honestly a very tempting idea called the bad apple theory. It's this belief that our systems are basically fine if it weren't for a few clumsy, careless people messing everything up.
The logic is so simple, it's seductive. If a person is the problem, you get rid of the person. You fire Frank, you've solved the problem. Case closed. This is what safety expert Sidney Dekker calls the old view. It feels clean, it's decisive, and it lets managers feel like they've done something.
And listen, this isn't some newfangled management trend. This way of thinking is ancient. This quote was from 1933. For almost a century, we've been trained to look for that so-called accident-prone worker. You know, the one weak link in the chain.
And yeah, on the surface, it makes a kind of sense. Problem, person, remove the person. Simple. But here's the thing. That simple equation leaves out the most critical part of the whole story. It completely ignores the world that person was actually living in at that moment.
So to really understand what happened with Frank, we have to stop playing Monday morning quarterback. We have to stop judging from the outside with the benefit of hindsight. And we have to try to see the situation from the inside. We have to peer down what Dekker calls the operator's tunnel.
Now, this is all guided by a really powerful idea. The local rationality principle. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it just means this. People don't show up to work wanting to mess up. They do things that make perfect sense to them at that exact time with the goals they have, the knowledge they possess, and whatever they're focused on. Judging Frank from a quiet office, hours later, knowing exactly how it all turned out, that's easy. And it's useless. If we actually want to learn something, we have to try to reconstruct his reality. We have to crawl inside his tunnel and see the world the way he saw it.
So, what was going on in Frank's tunnel? Well, first off, he was 16 hours into his workday. He wasn't just tired, he was dealing with intense, debilitating fatigue. On top of that, management was breathing down everyone's neck to meet some urgent quota. Oh, and the equipment he was using? It had a known, intermittent glitch that no one had bothered to fix. And to top it all off, a recent procedure change was written in a way that was totally confusing.
Now, when you see it like that, the whole picture changes, doesn't it? The question isn't, how could Frank be so careless anymore? The real question is, how did we put a good, dedicated employee in a position where this kind of error was almost guaranteed to happen? Was this a personal failure, or was he set up to fail?
And this brings us to the single most important takeaway here. Human error is not the cause of failure. Human error is a symptom of deeper trouble hiding in the system. It's a red flag.
So let's just lay it out, side by side. The old view says error is the cause, that people are the problem, and you have to control them. But the new view, it completely flips the script. It says error is just a symptom, that your people are actually your greatest source of solutions and safety. And the real problem, it's not bad apples, it's bad systems. And here's why this is so critical. The moment you blame and fire Frank, the investigation stops. It stops dead in its tracks, right where it should have started. The company learns nothing about the crushing fatigue, the production pressure, or the faulty machine. And because the broken system is still in place, you are basically guaranteeing that some other person is going to make that exact same mistake down the line. That whole idea of an accident-prone person, it's a complete myth. Research shows us that risk isn't a personality trait somebody has. Risk is contextual. It's part of the environment. The person working the night shift with old equipment is facing way more risk than a manager in a daytime office. It's about the situation, not the person.
Okay, so if blaming people is a dead end, what's the better way forward? What's the right path? Well, the answer is to totally shift our focus. We have to stop trying to fix people and start fixing the systems they work in.
What we call a bad apple problem is almost always a system problem. It's a big, flashing sign that there's a mismatch between what the job demands and the tools, training, or time that the person is given to do it. And you know what? Fixing that mismatch is the organization's responsibility, period. So, what does a better investigation actually look like? Well, first, you change the question. Stop asking who is responsible and start asking what is responsible. What pressures, what equipment flaws, what policies. Second, you have to dig into all the messy, complicated details of what was happening in that person's tunnel. And third, you make accountability about looking forward, about learning and preventing the next one, not looking backward to punish someone for the last one.
And let me be crystal clear here. This is not about letting people off the hook or avoiding accountability. It's about demanding a smarter, more just, and more effective kind of accountability, one that holds the organization accountable for creating a safe system, because that is the only thing that actually works.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The last time something went wrong where you work, what was the first reaction? Did you and your team go hunting for a single bad apple, or did you have the courage to take a hard look at the health of the entire orchard? The safety of everyone around you really depends on that answer.